Oh Lord, you guys are going to freaking love this little Easter egg about Kapkan and another special operator later in this video. I'm not going to spoil it just yet because this little story comes much later in Kapkan's life, so you gotta wait till the end of the video to figure this out. I'm going to stop keeping y'all waiting, so let's get right into it. Okay, so let's start off as we always do with where and when Kapkan was born. So Kapkan's real name is actually Maxim Basuda, and he was born on May 14th in Kavrov, Russia. Anyone here share the same birthday as Kapkan or know anyone who has the same birthday, May 14th, anyone? Let me know in the comments. Okay, so Kapkan was born into a family with the influence of the Russian military all around him. His mom and dad were in the armed forces, but not as soldiers. I'll explain on that a little bit later. But Maxim had the honor of growing up as the oldest of 3 brothers. Now that's kind of like me in real life. See, I'm the oldest of 4 brothers actually. So yeah, take that, Kapkan. My parents did the dirty more than yours did. Okay, that was weird. I should probably edit that out, right? Well, speaking of parents, remember how I said that Maxims were members of the military? Well, they were actually both employees of the military support factories. His father was in the mechanical engineering division while his mother worked in textiles. I looked their professions up around the same time that Kapkan was born, and it looks like that they didn't really make much money at all from their jobs. So odds are that Kapkan's family probably grew up kind of poor, so that without a doubt limited Kapkan's options of success right off the start. He was destined to follow in his parents' footsteps and become a factory worker for the Russian military, but his parents really wanted more for little Kapkan. They did everything they can to encourage him, along with his teachers seeing Kapkan's potential, to enlist into the Ministry of Internal Affairs after he graduated high school, which is a multi-divisional operation in Russia, mostly consisting of policing. This is where Kapkan got a good foundation of amazing skills to make him just a full-blown killer later in life. The good foundations Kapkan started off with are just, standard weapon training and expertise, protection detail, and high-speed pursuits. But the main thing that threw Kapkan into the spotlight of his superiors is how truly amazing he was with hostage rescue and information gathering. Huh? Hostage rescue, you say? Well, I could think of a Russian in particular that may need an extra class or two on hostage rescue. I wonder who that would be. Since Kapkan grew up as a self-sufficient person, learning how to survive in the woods for extended periods of time hunting, he was one of the Ministry of Internal Affairs' best choices for a daring operation. Kapkan was supposed to go undercover for an operation to shut down a heavily organized crime syndicate in the port town of Naryan Mar on the Barents Sea. To the surprise of his superiors, Kapkan completed his mission and brought down the crime in the city single-handedly. Something amazing was about to happen to Kapkan as the highly respected Spetsnaz heard of this daring undercover mission. They swiftly reached out to Maxim to get recruited into the Spetsnaz. Of course, Kapkan accepted and started a new chapter of his life, a chapter that would define who Maxim is even to today. Guys, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you find yourself liking the video, make sure to leave a like, as it really does help out the channel. I have 2 links in the description I want you guys to check out. One of them is my Discord link. Another one is for my merch link. Go ahead and check those out. Okay, back to the video. So at first, the Spetsnaz stationed him far north, all the way into the Arctic Circle. There, Kapkan was free to do what he loved. And boy, did Kapkan love hunting. He loved hunting so much that he even incorporates the art of hunting into his missions and operations, even all the way up to when he joins Team Rainbow. Along with learning how to be an S-tier hunter in the frigid Arctic Circle, he became very proficient at being a trapper as well. His time there was short-lived though, as the Spetsnaz transferred him to the city of Beslan in 2002. Okay, so Kapkan is about to take part in one of the most horrific single events to ever happen in Russia. In 2004, several dozen Chechen terrorist specialists stormed and occupied school number 1 in the city of Beslan, Russia. They took hostage almost everyone in the school, including children, teachers, and family members. A total of 1,128 people were taken hostage and herded into the school gym. Okay, so I'm still debating on how much of the details of this event I want to share with you guys. It's honestly making me sick reading up on all of this, so I'm going to skip a lot of the really awful details. And just in case you guys were wondering, this is all true. What I'm about to say is really all true. This really did happen. And I'm a paramedic in real life that works at a children's hospital in the emergency room, and I can't even begin to imagine what these kids had to go through these 3 days while they were held hostage at their school. Okay, so by day 3, the situation was so bad with the hostages that the Russian forces were forced to storm the school after the terrorists shot and killed 2 paramedics that were told they could retrieve 20 bodies from the school. Along with that, the terrorists bombed the roof of the gym where most of the hostages were held. The roof was set on fire and came crumbling down on most of the hostages, killing many. Once the Russian forces stormed the school, it was absolute carnage. Heavy casualties were lost as the terrorists were very heavily armed. The hostages were moved from the burning sports hall and the gymnasium to mostly the cafeteria, and were forced to stand up against the windows to act as human shields. Around 100 hostages were reportedly accidentally killed as collateral damage from the Russian forces shooting from outside into the cafeteria trying to hit the terrorists. Now, in the Rainbow Six Siege universe, Kapkan was a major contributor to the liberation of the school. He was one of the only members of his squad to survive this mission and complete the operation, as well as he rescued and saved as many hostages as he can. If you guys want to read up on this, search up the Beslan School Massacre in Russia, but be warned, the details are graphic and horrifying. It is a true thing. Alright guys, I'm so sorry that I had to give you that super dark and depressing story, but that is a true event that happened, and in the Rainbow Six Siege universe, Kapkan was a big part of it, so I felt like I really needed to talk about it if I wanted to actually give you guys exactly what Kapkan went through in his life. So let's move on to more happy things for Kapkan. Okay, so in 2015, when Team Rainbow was looking to form a multinational anti-terrorist organization, they of course had to include the Spetsnaz when looking for new recruits. Kapkan demanded to be recruited, as he has quite literally seen the absolute worst humanity has to offer, and will do everything he can to make sure another event like the Beslan School Massacre will never happen again. Rainbow recruited Kapkan along with specialists Tachanka, Fuse, and Glaz, each worthy and extremely proficient in their own unique ways. Let's move on to the psychological evaluation completed by Harry, the director of Team Rainbow, on every new cadet that gets recruited into Rainbow. So Harry starts off by saying that Kapkan has seen the harsh reality of the world and how he does not allow that to hinder his ability to act. He's fascinated by psychology and how it allows one creature to become the hunter and the other the prey. When Harry started the interview, he noticed that the first impression he got of Kapkan was that he had a really jaded point of view on the world and his role in it. He notes that Kapkan's mission is to leave a lasting impact on the world, so he does what he can to train other soldiers as well as he is to spread his influence further. Harry spoke to a lot of members on Team Rainbow and asked what they thought about Kapkan, and they all say that Kapkan is extremely intense, but they all speak very highly of him and give him the respect he deserves. Harry also talks about how Kapkan was talking how he really does love hunting and weapons. Harry was intrigued on why he loves hunting so much, so Kapkan told him why. Kapkan says, "A hunter needs to think strategically, to understand the animal's routines and behaviors, but it's also imperative that the hunter respects their prey. Any true hunter respects animals. They understand conservation and need to maintain a balance. Wolves and bears play their part perfectly. This understanding makes me a better operator because I can apply it to people, both in how they're like animals, but also in how they are not." He talks about how life is really hard for him sometimes, and I feel like he may have PTSD from the massacre he was involved in. Harry notes that he's worried Kapkan is lonely, and to be honest, I feel like he is too. But Kapkan laughs at Harry when he brought up the fact that he thinks he's lonely, He says that he loves brain science and that Harry's job studies the mind when it is almost always about the soul. Harry admits that he couldn't help but agree with Kapkan. Okay, so now's the part I've been dying to talk to you guys about. So I remember how I said early in the video that Kapkan really ties in with another operator in Siege? Well, that operator is none other than Finka. So Kapkan and Finka knew each other way before they were even operators on Team Rainbow. And it's kind of funny how many operators have a history with one another before Team Rainbow. Anyways, so Finka was serving in the Russian military when one day while she was training to be a member of the Spetsnaz, she was doing close quarter combat knife training with Kapkan. When all of a sudden, Finka tripped while training as Kapkan was swinging his knife, and as she was falling, the knife slit her in the face from her eyebrow all the way to her cheek. Blood came pouring from Finka's head. Now, before she can even begin to feel the pain, with adrenaline in her veins, she pushed Kapkan to the ground and started absolutely beating him. With each bone-breaking blow to Kapkan's face and ribs, she eventually stopped when the pain of this massive laceration on her face and her now injured hands from beating Kapkan was too much to continue. They didn't say a word to each other while in the medical tent all night. Not a word, as they were both in extreme pain. But now, there is this unspoken respect between Kapkan and Finka. From that day forward, Finka earned her call sign Finka because in Russian, Finka actually means knife. Honestly, that's kind of hilarious how Finka got her codename from when Kapkan accidentally sliced her face open. So that's where that big ass scar on her face came from. Moving on, let's talk about the device evaluation for Kapkan that was actually completed by Frost and Kapkan himself. Firstly, Frost thanks Harry or Six and Mira for letting her complete an evaluation, as usually Mira is the one to do these. Frost talks about how they designed the entry denial device MK2 to be made of a lighter alloy and have a long screw to be anchored into a doorway or a windowsill. The EDD has a packed C4 charge to blast screws into an enemy when the tripwire is activated. Originally, a bright red laser was cast as the tripwire and had much more explosives, but they thought it was way too noticeable, so they found a way to reduce the laser's brightness, but had to remove some explosives to do it, making it not as lethal as it was before. Frost said that she had a great time with Kapkan and learned so much from him as they were testing and redesigning his gadget. She even goes on to say that she believes that even Kapkan learned a few things from her, but he refuses to say that he actually learned anything from her. Well, thank you all so much for watching. The support on the channel has just been absolutely heartwarming and amazing recently. I truly do love you guys for giving me a chance. Thank you so much. Who do you want to see in the next Operator Lore video? Let me know by leaving a comment down below. Now, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications if you're new. Now, with all that being said, Jippy out!